All right. Well, good morning. So here we go, another day, another dollar. Nice day outside today. Hope you guys get a chance to practice outside, maybe a little later. So let's inhale 3 clearing breaths, pulling down the heavens. 2. And set. So rolling those shoulders back and down, rounding, tucking under, drop the head, lift the shoulders, lift the head, rolling back and down. So let's make that circle a little bigger with the arms. So on the next one, pull the elbows back and coming down. Again, pull the elbows back, about shoulder height. Just get some nice rotation through the shoulders and upper back. And then we'll completely go over the head, sweeping open in the chest and coming through, in and out. And set. Okay, let's take the hands, palms come in front of the thighs, holding back the water, standing in a river as our standing meditation, and dropping into the roots, dropping into the feet. So we go through these 10 points of awareness. We quickly go through them. In the beginning, you do want to visualize them, go through them one by one. But as you get more used to it, and it becomes more a part of you, and you kind of quickly go through. So you want to feel those roots dropping down through the bottoms of the feet. Feel the toes grip, the heels grip, the outer part of the foot grips, and the arches pull up. Engaging the knees, sinking from the hips with the tailbone slightly curling under, releasing the lower back, dropping the breath into the lower abdomen, relaxing the chest, drop the shoulders, lift through the crown of the head. Draw the corners of the mouth up into an inner smile. Pressing through the feet, drop the heat to the feet. Feel those roots drop down out of the feet, creating this long and dangling root ball into the core of the earth. And as those roots amass the core, they draw up that earth energy into the legs. Bring it into the lower abdomen where it mixes with our internal chi. Drawing down the heavenly chi through the crown of the head. And feeling the mixing develop in the abdomen as we inhale, drawing in all the chi, and on the exhale, we compress just the very purest of chi and letting the rest go. Releasing it in a gray cloud where it gets reabsorbed into the earth and recycled. So as the position resonates with us, we can almost feel ourselves standing in a body of water where the waves are moving towards us and we yield to them. The waves move around us, and that's how we want to kind of conduct our life. allowing things that are non-consequential to our being just kind of roll off and roll away. But just being that steady person, feeling the emotions, let them run through you, to letting them go. Same thing with the joys in life. We allow ourselves to feel the joy, but not be drawn to it. The winter, the water season is time for reflection. It's also a time for transformation. So through this season, we go through a time of reflection in the beginning of the season, which is really part of that metal season, looking back, reflecting on our past, to see where we want to go in the future. So as we go through our water season, there's a time for transformation and starting to look towards the future, towards what you'd like to see for yourself, what you'd like to envision. It requires a time of solitude, some time for just being at peace. Not a lot of movement. Of course, there's balance within that. So finding our balance, coming back into your body, and on our next breath, the inhale, as we pull down the heavens one more time, and exhale, clearing. And it is time for movement this morning, so let's shake out those 9 gates. So wrist, elbows, and shoulders. Kind of work on the hands a little bit. Puppy paws, flip the hands, and then thumbs, and then puppy paws, going through each one, back of the hands, and then thumb side, palms down, palms up, thumbs up. Good, now just take the rest of the body into rest, shaking ankles, knees, and hips. And feel the rest of the body just being moved. So the legs begin the movement. The rest of the body is moved. The arms, the torso. The eyes are jiggling a little bit. Well, here's another idea of what we're doing. So kidney 1, that point in the bottom of the feet, just at the top of the arch in the center of the foot, we're pumping that bubbling well. So it's like, you know, you're pulling up the chi from the earth into the body. So it's stimulating your feet. And the more you press into those big toes, the more balanced this will feel. And within that practice, the more balanced you will be through your life, through your day-to-day activities. You know, and ideally, we might see some snow and ice this winter. I know some of you are like, no, but it's a good thing to experience for a couple months during the year. But we want to make sure that we are balanced and safe and are aware of where it is so that we don't slip and fall. So the practice is really good for that, being present in your day-to-day activities. And that's what happens, you know, we're not present. You know, we cut ourselves, we're cutting an onion or something. Or, you know, we forget where all our stuff is. So trying to be more present in the mundane things that we are doing throughout our day. And the more you practice it, the more it becomes part of your life. And you'll notice just the ease in which you move through your day is enhanced. Do another 30 seconds or so. Just be feeling nice and warm. And then as we come back to center, just toss it out. Oh, enjoy the tingling sensation throughout the whole body. Maybe you might just feel it in your feet and hands. Maybe you just feel it in your hands, but as you practice again, you'll start to feel it everywhere. And as we settle down the heart, take nice deep breaths in. And we'll go right into our golden chi ball. So with the feet shoulder width apart, inhale as we open the chest, rising to the balls of the feet, exhale as we drop to the heels, rounding. Inhale, feet, waist, arms. Exhale, feet, waist, arms. Now the head is part of that spine. So as we're lifting, inhaling, the head rises. And as we exhale, the head falls. Now, coming within, keeping those ears in line with the shoulders so that we're not heavy-headed. You don't want to feel a strain or pull at the neck in either way. So allowing the head to move from the thoracic spine. As the thoracic spine opens, so does the cervical spine, but it happens after, not before. Same thing when we round or contract the spine, you want the head to follow. And we'll do one more. Exhale, Phoenix ascend. So the arms come up, same thing with the torso, but just adding a little bit more movement in the thoracic part of the spine. Okay. So we should also be feeling that sensation of deep breathing. So it's an interesting concept. The feet start the whole movement. The breath leads the movement through the whole range of motion. We'll do one more. And everybody's favorite monkey leaps. Toss the ball, drop to the heels. Toss the ball, drop to the heels. So those toes are also very important with this one to hold that grip as maybe you lift your heels to have 1/4 of an inch off the floor and then drop them on that exhale. So it's inhale, 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 exhale, catch. Last one. Good, take the toes out, heels out, pulling back on those elbows, sink rises out of the grass. So exhaling everything out to begin. Then as we drop down, inhale. Bring the chest forward, looking up, exhale, rounding the back. Remember, we don't want to tilt the head off of its alignment. So we don't want to do that. We just want to kind of lift and open through the arch of the spine. Inhale. Don't be afraid to stick that butt back. Just watch the overarching. You want to sink through the hips, knees, ankles. In that order. Actually, in the opposite order. You're kind of pushing down, flexing. In. Out. Out. And then we'll set. So with the feet out, maybe a little bit more, we will sink and hold the ball. So holding the golden she ball, find your balance. So if you are also looking at the gallery view, as well as myself, you want to be able to see your whole body if possible. At least in your practice, if you have a full-length mirror, is very helpful, because what I have found is that if I get away from kind of looking at my body in this position, that I will go to my the posture that I tend to go to, which is this. So you see how I'm not symmetrical, like this leg is kind of not active, this leg is. So I want to, be aware that these little imbalances in my body are going to be there, and I want to look out for them. So I'm aware to put more, I want to put more energy into this right side, because my right side doesn't take as much of the weight on a normal basis. It's dominant. You're right-handed. If you're right-handed, you're rotating around to that left side, and that's kind of why. But I've noticed that even if you're left-handed, you still got that tendency to kind of go over to the left. But we want to be aware that we don't have to reach to grab something across our body, that we can use that left hand. So trying to be more symmetrical and even with our movements will help us as well. So just kind of sitting in this wide-legged horse stance, ease into it. There is very important for those of us who have no butt, tight hamstrings, and straight hips, that we're not this, that we want to find that center where we are not here and not here, but we're pushing through those legs. And immediately I start to feel this right in the shins, the quads, All right, if I go a little lower, I'm going to feel it move out to the sides of the shins. Is the peroneal muscles around the ankle, and then the piriformis muscles inside those hips, deep inside the hip joint. And now as I sink, we can also, go into that standing river, and, practice our standing meditation in this deeper stance. So it's still not something that you're sweating and can only hold for 3 minutes. It's something maybe you can hold for 10 minutes. Leading up to that half hour, 45-minute meditation, standing meditation, at some point in your life, try to do it. Be honest, I've done it once for the 45-minute to an hour. The hardest part is 15 minutes. But now I can do 15 minutes is pretty easy to do. And you tend to drop right in. The first time you do it, the process of the nervous system acclimating to it is what you're trying to break through. And then once you broke through it, you'll be good. So there's something good to do in the wintertime. When you have a snowstorm, you can't do anything. So stand here and practice. Okay, so anyway, we'll come into prayer hands, sink a little bit lower, see if you can get a little bit deeper without too much strain or discomfort. The breath will take that out to a certain point, of course. So we're going to inhale to rise. Exhale, sink back. Inhale, hold. Exhale, hold. Draw navel back, perineum up. Then inhale to rise. And exhale to hold. Or to lower, sink. Inhale to hold. Exhale to hold. Inhale to rise. Exhale to sink. Inhale to hold. Exhale, hold deeper. Inhale to rise. So we're going to do 9. This is number 4. And out. Inhale to hold. Exhale to hold. Inhale to rise. Exhale, sink. Inhale to hold. Exhale to hold. Inhale to rise. So this is the practice of getting your legs stronger, to get that symmetrical opening of the hips and pelvis. Inhale to rise. This is one of the best exercises I know for sciatica. It's hard to get people to do this because it doesn't make any sense until you feel the difference. Because it takes some time and it takes some, inhale to hold, where I find the word, motivation, discipline. But it also takes trust to find all that. You have to trust in the process. I think I lost count. I think we have 2 more after this one. I'm gonna guess. If anyone's counting, can correct me. Inhale to rise. Exhale to sink. hold. Exhale, hold. Last one, inhale to rise. Exhale to sink. Inhale, hold, and get a little deeper. Maybe get the shoulders back a little bit more. Sits bones under a little bit more. And then rise again. And then exhale out. So keep the stance. I'm just going to take my socks off. You need to make any adjustments. Back to our, so we're going to do all our little warm-ups here for dragging the, swinging the dragon's whiskers. We're going to do our bone tapping, healing sound, and then we'll do our water regulating protocol. All right, so coming back into this position, make sure the feet are parallel. And just to go back a second, that last exercise is I'm forcing you to stay here. 18 times for 8 days, 18 times 8, no, 9 times, 9 days, 8 days, 7 days, whatever it is. You want to make it 108. And so every day you do 18 of those, up and down, hold, and you will start to feel how this, if you're not in this position, get into this position while I'm talking to you, get down. And you will start to feel all of this, the whole nervous system start to respond. And you'll get a little lower and it'll feel a little bit easier. You'll feel more effective. You'll notice your changes in your body, in your back, and your hips and ankles, and all those things that tend to fail us, including the knees. All right, so let's shifting. 1, 2, 3. So just side to side, and let those arms float over your body, and then make that light fist and tapping inside and outside the hips. Then rise up, lower rib cage. 6, 7. Middle rib cage. So just under the armpit area. Then a hollow part of the chest, kidney area, the back arm. 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. Then over the shoulder, and this time you can pick up the heel and look behind you. Let your arms just swing and slap the upper back. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then let everything come back and clear. Inhale and exhale. Good, let's begin by tapping, beginning with the lower body. So coming down, bend your knees and tap just inside the ankle, then above the ankle, halfway up the calf, inside the knees, up halfway over the upper thigh, inner thigh higher, then come around that pelvis. Tap on the lower back. Just going to go up and down the spine. And then come around just to the outer part of the pelvic area, down the buttocks. Down your hamstrings. Behind the knees. Stay behind the knees for a moment. Down back to the calves. Outer part of the ankle. Around the top of the foot to the inner part of the ankle and come up the inner thighs again, just above the ankle, halfway up the calf, inner knees, halfway up the thighs, come all the way up and around the pelvic girdle. And coming down about half, just to that femur joint, sink into the femur joint, expose it so that you can get a good feeding on those femurs. It's good for the bones. And then come down the outside of the leg, seam of the pants to the outer knee. Just hold those knees so you're not letting those knees move. Just tapping right on the bone there. Then about halfway down the outer calf. Outer ankle, below the ankle, and around the feet in just below the inner ankle, coming up just over the top of the ankle, halfway up the calf, and again to these inner knees. It's going to make it a circle around that big tibia bone. Then coming up halfway up the inner thighs. And then hold here. You just open the hands. I'm just going to sweep up that lymphatic area of the groin. Smooth out that energy. And then we're going to tap down the stomach meridian, coming down the fronts of the legs, just lateral to the bone. And down just lateral to the knee. And then just below the knee, stomach 36, and stop there. There's a little indentation where the bone and the anterior tibialis muscle separate. There's a little divot there, and you're just tapping that big knuckle into stomach 36. Good for releasing and getting some extra energy. 3 more miles is the point. So that's the point of the point is to go 3 more miles. And then going down just lateral to the tibia. And then scoop up, inhale, and exhale, shoot it out. Good. All right, so upper body. We're going to start with the index finger and just kind of tap up above the wrist, up to that inside elbow joint, but staying on the outside. And then coming up the arm over the shoulder. And coming down the lung meridian. So that's the hollow part of the chest. And we just follow that thumb side down towards the wrist. And then flip, coming up on that outer line, which is the small intestine. On the outer part of that elbow, go up around the shoulder joint and to the armpit. We come down the heart meridian, which is the inside pinky line. And then flip. So we're on the outside of the arm again, from the wrist up the center of the arm, triple warmer. So coming over the elbow itself, over the top of the shoulder, and then we come to the chest, to the sternum, and just lightly tap, coming up the inside of the chest and down the bicep, inside of the elbow, center, right down the center of the forearm to the center of your palm, pericardium 8, labor point, and tapping that. Okay, other side, index finger, tap up the wrist, going along that inside elbow, but on the outside of it, over the shoulder, and then coming into the hollow part of the chest. And we're going to come down that inside thumb line for the lung to the wrist. Now flip it and come up the outside small intestine line. Go around the shoulder, all the way around to the armpit, and then we come down on the inside pinky line. Heart, and then triple warmer on the outside of the arm, center, and then coming down from the sternum and going out the inside of the arm, side of the elbow, inside of the wrist to the pericardium 8 point. We'll shake that out. Just keep the weight. If you need to shake out the feet a little bit, go ahead. I know I had you standing in that posture for a long time. We're going to continue this. So open those feet again. So watch the tendency. If you had the tendency to rise up, buckle the knees back, lock out the knees, not any good, no good, don't do that. So rather to make it narrower, okay? So we're back in our wide horse stance, and we're going to bring in our healing sound. So going back to the dragon's whiskers, we're just going to do 1, 2, then as you move to the other side with a choo, and swim 1, 2, choo, 1, 2, choo, and 1, 2, choo. And we're looking back at the 7 illnesses, demons, whatever. Yeah, you're looking at what's coming behind you. 1, 2, the things that make us afraid. And we're afraid because we're uncertain. So no sound, just a shh. Or you can do the sound. Choo. 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 Last one. Choo. And then inhale, center, and exhale to set. Good. So use that to not sedate fear, just to kind of tone fear down and to look at it. When you look at fear, then you know what you're dealing with. So you either, run for it or stand up against it and deal with it. So it's, the eyes are part of that, even though we think of the eyes as being associated with liver, but there is that connection of water and wood, wood being, the element for the liver and gallbladder, and water being the element for kidneys and bladder. And so how these things work and support each other. So wood supports, or water supports wood. And wood is the baby of water. If that makes any sense. It's like it takes from water to exist. It takes water to exist, the wood. So anyway, so regulating this water element, slow rhythmic movements, like a flowing movement, is what we want to work with. So coming into that horse stance a little deeper again. Make sure that the toes aren't flailing out. You have nice parallel feet. If anything, maybe just a little bit of a pigeon toe, very slight, just to feel a little bit of strain on the bone in your, your tibia bone and fibula down in your lower legs. So as you take the right hand back, open up the left hand, shift to the left, rotate your waist with that inhale. Then exhale as you shift, push the water. Inhale, shift, let the arm follow, create that little arc, drop it, switch, shift, push the water, shift and draw the arc. So a nice, very rhythmic music, very helpful to kind of get this into the body if music is your thing. I love doing this too. It can't be very complicated. Otherwise, you're thinking more about the music than just kind of letting go in it. So very simple elemental music is very nice to ease this along. Don't let the head be a solo, be on its own. You want the head to be following with the body. A lot of times, because our head seems so disconnected to the rest of our body, we just let the head just do whatever it wants to do. And so just that whole practice of being mindful of how this energy is pulling up through the feet, moving through the waist, reflecting in the arm. So there's a four-dimensional experience here. The fourth dimension being the emotion, feeling the expression through your body as it has this emotional energy to it. And then on this last one, we'll finish with the arm floating back. The left arm's now going to come back to the kidneys, and we'll just rotate to that right, shift, push the water, shift, and draw the arc. And as you get lower, as you get stronger in those legs, it is really about the legs getting stronger before you feel that whole synchronous movement. And that whole thing, you know, that's will be what releases the fourth dimension of this. And then the fifth dimension, our fifth energy or fifth chakra, is in finding your truth. It's kind of like that liberated feeling of being in your truth, not being afraid of it, finding that strength. And as we ascend up to that fifth and opening the sixth chakra, which is your intuitive self, knowing and reacting in an elevated way or spiritual way, or not spiritual. But without the drama. And so as we use, I don't have the music on today, but as you use that 4/4 timing music, then you are forced to kind of keep this slow and not speed through it so that you feel all the little movements within this bigger movement, how the feet work, how the waist, how it moves through the legs to the waist to the arm. And we'll do one more. And as we come back through the center, releasing the left arm, inhale, and exhale to clear. And stepping in with the heels, toes. Let's shake out the feet. And as we move into our 8 vessel practice today, we're going to take a moment just to do a few gathering the sun to press the earth. So with your blocks, if needed, have them ready. And feet are about hip width apart. You could be a little bit wider if you have tight hamstrings. You could be out to shoulder width apart and then kind of move in the feet as things open up for you. Okay, so gather the sun. So we inhale to the kidneys, open that back, exhale as we fold from the hips. So nice flat lengthened spine, and then fold towards the floor. Hands to your blocks or floor, and then Releasing, coming up the inner thighs on that inhale. And exhale as you set, look over to your left shoulder. And again, inhale, circle. Nice long inhale to the kidneys. Exhale, you can always chop it up to 2 breaths down the backs of your legs. 2 your blocks. Inhale into your hands. Exhale to your heels. Release your ears to your shoulders. Then inhale to soften the knees and roll up. Pull the navel in. Continue inhaling, fill, and exhale, set. And then this time we'll stay for maybe 2-3 minutes. Exhale, flat back. The backs of your legs. Hold those blocks, floor, pillow. Release your neck. So the crown of your head should be pointing to the middle fingers. The shoulders draw up towards your hips, so away from your ears. Your head drops forward. You're creating this space between your ears and your shoulders. Your hips lift up. Lift your sits bones. So now your weight comes into the hands as if you could go right up into a handstand. Now, none of us are that young anymore or have that kind of ability, I don't think. But that's the idea, is you want to put the pressure, the weight into the hands and into the balls of your feet. The heels are light, the backs of the hips lift and lengthen. Because ideally this posture will go into from a hamstring, back of the leg, buttocks, hip stretch to an opening of the spine stretch. So eventually, with practice, so make sure you're breathing deep in through the palms of the hands, exhale into your feet, or out of your feet. So with practice, this becomes more of an alignment for the spine. So working with the deepest of inhales and the longest of exhales. We can work through this. There is a circuit going through the bottoms of your feet to the palms of your hands. So we can begin with the next breath, breathing in through the feet. All the way through the legs, through the hips, through the belly, and then exhaling from the belly, out the torso, crown of the head, down the arms, and out the palms of your hands. Then you inhale through the palms of your hands, through your arms, through your lungs, to the belly. Then exhale down through the hips, down your legs, and out the bottoms of your feet. So repeating that cycle a few more times. Creating almost like a waterfall effect in your body, feeling like that flow of water coming through you. Do one more breath cycle. When you finish this last breath cycle, soften your knees, release your hands. Your weight is in your heels and balls of your feet and your toes. You can roll up one vertebrae at a time. And shake it out a little bit if there's some tightness that you're experiencing or seizing on the back end. Just kind of rock back and forth. Take your time coming up. Just take a few breaths to come up. Doesn't have to be all in one. The back is a little tight, so we can kind of move around before standing straight up out of it. So, all right. Everybody should be nice and rosy in their cheeks. All right. So our 8 vessels. They're called. They're sometimes called the 8 extraordinary meridians or the 8 extraordinary vessels. But what they are is you would think of them as being like the river, the main river, like the Hudson River. And your meridians would be the streams and tributaries coming out of that main river. And so the meridians will feed off of the 8 vessels. And so we have the first meridian that is established when we are in utero is the conception and governing vessel. And then it goes into this thrusting vessel, which is that straight up energy and creates the 7 energy centers in the body. And then we have the heel vessel, which comes right and left side, heel to side of the head. And then the linking vessels right and left side of the body. So it connects the right side to the left side to the right side. And then there's the yin and the yang of those vessels. So, belt vessel, sorry. Yep. So then we have the thrusting vessel, the belt vessel, which creates the energy centers, then the linking vessels and the heel vessels. So our first one that we do in this sequence is, and they have, each stance that we're doing is not necessarily representing the vessel, one vessel. It actually is multiple vessels in there. So our first position is the 7-pointed star. So this is new for Mitchell, and this is a review for the rest of us. We're going to shift to that left leg. So when you shift to that left leg, remember, and we pretty much got this now, it's not the hip that sticks out, it's that weight. So you feel very balanced and symmetrical on one side. That makes sense. How can you be symmetrical on one side? But there's that in and the out. So your heel vessel and linking vessel have a yin and a yang part to it. So the vessel actually goes up the out and comes down the in, or comes in the in, and so it makes like a complete circuit in itself, okay, on that one side of the body. So you want to imagine that the vessels on the inside and the outside making this circle or making this circuit are equal. So there's as much engaging on the inner side as there is on the outside. Okay, so mainly you can see it through the leg, but also you have your conception vessel and governing vessel splitting the 2 sides, right side to left side. So you have that inside of your left side, or right side, we're mirroring you, so this right side is strong as the outside part. So there is no going out there, because that would mean this is weak. Or maybe that would mean this is too overpowering. This has to have some strength to it, okay? So taking the arms up. So you're holding this giant beach ball in front of you. This posture is for our fire protocol, right? Embracing the heart. Well, within water is fire, and 8 vessel practice is done in the winter time and in the summertime, because there's this mixing of fire and water that's very, very important in the whole alchemy of Chinese medicine. So we mix the fire and the water. We try to cool the head of the excess fire to bring it down to the lower belly and get the water to rise up. And we understand that why, as we age, we get dried up in the head and stroke and heart attack and all that crap. And so we want to drop that fire here and increase the water into the head and into the sinuses and the fluids, not to get stuck, but to move, you know, to keep everything moist. So with the with the left foot empty, you're going to rotate the toes in. So you can start at this 45-degree position. Ultimately, we're trying to get this full rotation at 90 degrees, but you know, let's just take it to 45. So your big toe is pointing to the other big toe. Your left big toe points to your right big toe. And then that's a straight leg. This is a bent leg, okay? So we're from here, shift, this leg straightens, rotates, drops the heel, rotates the waist. So now I'm looking at the right wall. Your left heel is down and you should feel some stretch in that calf muscle. Okay, so your body weight is not back here. Okay, so we don't want to be back here. We want to be over this right leg. The shoulders are going to be perpendicular to your hip and knee. So that's all you're going to practice for this week. It's going to be on the tape, so you can just fast forward to this practice later on. And actually, there are other 8 vessel practices way back if you can find them. So fingers reflecting your ribs. The space between your fingers reflects your sternum. So you want to make sure that your hands aren't over here and your chest is pointing over there. Everything's squared off, okay? So I want to keep that alignment. Even if it's not perpendicular, I don't care. It could be 45 degrees. It could be here. Ideally, we get to here with practice. So just holding this posture, you breathe in, just like we did with pressing the earth. We held that posture and we did the breathing in through the feet, out through the hands, in through the hands, out through the feet. Same practice. So we would inhale and exhale. So then coming to the other side, we just release the way we went in, set, shift, inhale. So looking at your reflection, make sure that this isn't here. Stay here. Then pick that rotate from the hip. Okay, hip, waist, arms. And then you would do the same thing. Now check to see where your body is. Is it over here? So where you're kind of weight into the back heel. No weight in the back heel. We want to be forward. So that heel is pressing down, but it's more like a kickstand. Okay, so no weight. Mitch will come forward a little bit with your body. Make there you go. It's kind of like, think of the praying mantis. That's what I see when I look at this position. It just reminds me of a praying mantis somehow. All right, so then we come back to center. So I'll leave you with that first vessel today. Inhale to clear and exhale to set. And let me turn this off. So so what vessels were we working with? Heel vessel. So going up from the heels, you know, we're that leg that's turning in is stimulated through those vessels. It's kind of, you know, squeezing and pushing it, that energy through. So heel vessel, belt vessel, because you're twisted in the waist. And yeah, so each one of the vessels, when we go through them, you're going to have at least 2 or 3 vessels that we're going to be working on. Okay. Any questions? 3 pull downs to close. And 2. 3. And 7. All right, ladies and gents, we will
Darby, can I talk to you for a minute?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Let me just.
Hey.